We've talked a lot about how the dry winter impacted skiing, but what about hiking? 9 News producer Cole Ellenbogen shows us the impact we could see this summer.
Hiking Colorado's 14,000-foot peaks is an extremely popular pastime. And typically when we get these low snowpack seasons, it opens up the trails a lot earlier. But when we start having these seasons where hikers can get access to the peaks a little bit earlier, it's not always the same case for the crews that are responsible for building and maintaining the trails.
Protecting these peaks is hard work, and the Colorado 14ers Initiative, or CFI, has been handling it for decades.
We've been building this network of sustainable trails, but it's been somewhat like, building the plane while you're trying to fly the plane.
Lloyd Athern is the executive director of the Colorado 14ers Initiative, and while low snowpack may make the trails easier to get to, it could pose serious challenges for trail builders.
There's just nothing up there. We are seeing conditions just unlike anything we've seen even in prior drought years, like 2018, that was a big drought year.
Crews spend months working out of fixed remote camps where no snowpack can easily translate into no water supply. A dry season also means higher fire danger, and that could stop work entirely.
We have had, in drought years where there are a lot of wildfires, we've had to move crews from projects because they're either closing down the whole forest or there's too much smoke to make it healthy for people to be working.
Because of the way CFI's funding works, reassigning these fixed crews can be hard. Money raised for work on one mountain can't always be used on another. Moving someplace else sometimes means dipping into funding reserves.
People always talk about raising rainy day funds. For us, it's the smoky day funds.
As for the actual hiker numbers themselves, we might have to wait a while to hear them. For context, CFI still hasn't published their hiker numbers from last season in 2025. And part of that is because the counters are out there and they get buried by the first snow, and they have to wait until this thaw comes so that they can actually dig them out and download the data.
It is fascinating. Is there a risk that more visitors will actually have a negative impact on the trails?
Not just from the pure number of visitors that we have on the trails. There's a picture that I love to show people because I think it really illustrates this. What you're looking at here is Gray's Peak. I snapped this on a random weekend day, and when you zoom in, you can see all those little dots are people. And if you were to count every single one of them in the picture, there's well over 100 people.
Wow.
And this was just some random morning. We have a time lapse too, and you can kind of see people running back and forth up to the peak in super speed. But the point is that CFI knows to expect these huge volumes of people on these peaks. They build the trails for it and design the trails for it. What does actually damage the trails is a small number of people behaving poorly. And these are negative hiker behaviors, things like what you would expect: littering, traipsing around off of the trail, letting your pets be off leash and disturb the wildlife. Just a few people doing that is significantly more damaging than any amount of people that could be fit onto the trail.
Yeah, the rules are the rules for a reason. When you go off trail, you're ruining a lot of things. On top of it, isn't the whole saying like, leave it better than you found it?
Yeah, and leave no trace for any other Boy Scouts out there this morning.
Yes, I love it. Very interesting story, Cole. Thank you.
Thank you.